All right, hello Math 182 students. This video is to orient you with how our first exam is going to work. You can see, and I'm in a student view, so this would be your view as well. I have the exam one posted, and there are two parts to the exam, a part one and a part two. Both parts are 100 points each, and so your total points for exam one will be 200 points. So 50% of exam one is in part one, and 50% of exam one is in part two. These are going to be timed, these parts. Uh, each part you will have 5 hours to complete. It should not really take 5 hours, though, to complete. In my view, it should take really probably 2.5 hours to complete each part. But of course, things don't always go perfectly smoothly. You might have to work on a problem longer than you might think. Um, you're going to also need to, for this exam, to get credit for the problems, you're going to need to download your work that you work out on paper and put it and load it into the exam, and that could take some time. So that's why I came. That's how I came about of a 5 hour time period. You know, taking the 2.5 hours it should really take to complete the exam, and doubling it. Hopefully that will be work fine. Um, and of course, the exam, the first exam here. I mean, you should do this on your own. No technology. I expect you to be showing your work and doing the test, without any help or technology. And by taking the exam, you are agreeing to this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take you into the exam. I'm going to take you in and show you part one. And let me just click on it right now. You'll notice here the two little icons here. It's password protected, and the clock is 5 hours for the exam. So I'm going to click on it, and I want to mention too. Let me just go back. Uh, Also, for those of you who are looking at it, like for instance this morning before 11:40 a.m., you'll notice that there is a condition on there that also you can't begin the exam until you get a 80% on your section 5.9 exercises. But that restriction will be lifted this morning at 11:40 a.m. Okay, so let me just click on part one here. Okay, so I gave myself I gave myself a passing grade on the section 5.9 exercises, and I'm ready to put in a password. Now, what I'm going to do, I still need to do it, but I should have it by this morning. I want to make a quiz based on this orientation video. The quiz will be in Blackboard. It'll be located in Blackboard, and under syllabus, the syllabus and orientation link. And the quiz will focus on the comments I'm making here about this exam. And I want you to take this quiz and get 100% on it before you take the exam. So basically, the password. If you like, in order to get the password, for me to give you the password, you need to get 100% on this Blackboard quiz that I'm going to post. And it should be easy to get 100%. You'll have more. If you don't get 100% the first time, you'll get multiple attempts. And it's not meant to, take a long time to do. But I think it's important that to just test your understanding about how the exam is going to work, and make sure that you want to be sure you're comfortable with all the with the format of the exam and so forth. Okay, so I'm going to type in the password. Okay. All right, and let's see, it should take me in. It takes a little time. Oh, okay. All right. So, okay, it's verified. And now we go down here, and you're told that this is a timed assignment, 5 hours for this assignment. Now, this assignment, I should say this part one of the first exam. When you launch this assignment, the 5 hours clock starts ticking, and you have 5 hours. So the clock will not stop. Okay, I'm mentioning that because maybe in other, online homework systems, the clock can stop if you leave the exam and come back. But they do not have that option for WebAssign exams. So, you should feel ready to devote, the 5 hours in one setting before you start. So, like for instance, in one of the evenings here, you could go work from like 7 p.m. to midnight. And again, I don't think it's going to take that long for you to answer the questions properly and upload your work. But nevertheless, you should have time set aside. Like for instance, let's say you work a couple of hours on this exam, and then you leave for an hour and come back. Well, that's 3 hours then that you've used, and there will only be 2 hours left on the clock. So once you start the exam, you should be ready to finish it in one setting. Okay, all right, so let me launch the assignment here. I should say launch the exam. And here we open up the exam, and here's the clock on the top right. Gives me the time left. And if you don't want to see the time all the time, you can just click on this. It should there, and that hides the time. But generally, I like to have the time show. And again, 100 points for part one of the exam. So let me just go down to the first question here and show you how this works. Okay, so every question is worth 10 points. There are 10 problems and 10 points each. That's how we get 100 points. And let's look at the breakdown of the points. So I click on the little plus sign here. And all right, so 1 point for a correct submission, 9 points for showing your work. Okay, so if you get the correct answer for the problem, you type in the correct answer, you get 1 point out of 10. But then the other 9 points comes by showing your work. How do you show your work? Well, what you have to do is you have to, as you're working through the exam, you're going to be writing your work down on paper, writing it neatly, completely, correctly, because that's what I'm looking for. And then you could take a photo with your cell phone of your work. And then the JPEG file you can upload right here. Now, there's a 10 file maximum. So I know some of these problems take more than a page to complete. You might need 2 or 3 pages. If you write big, you might need 3 pages. So let's say you have your problem takes up 3 pages, your work, and you would take 3 photos then with your cell phone and upload the 3 JPEG files in the correct order right here. Another option, of course, is you could take your JPEG files and paste them into Microsoft Word and convert the Word document into a PDF. Then you'd only have one file to upload. So I'm going to give you some flexibility, but this is how I want you to show your work. I want you to you need to upload the files in WebAssign where it says show my work. And then what happens is, I will look at your work, and if the work's correct and complete, you'll get the 9 points. Okay. If the work is not correct, and if you get the right answer, your work should be correct and complete. If the work is not correct and complete, then you won't get the 9 points. Okay. So, and again, the goal here is that I'm trying to test your understanding of the concepts, and I know that people are doing their work because at office hours I see them do their work. I've sat in on some of Dr. Carbone's sessions, and I see students showing the work they've done. So I know you're doing your work. It's just officially I need for the exam to see work. Now, there's a comment right here. A deduction of 5% of the points will be subtracted for each submission used beyond 4. Okay, I mean, the way there's a lot of writing here. Okay, there's a lot of writing here, but the way I have this set up is that you're going to have, like a normal face-to-face class, right? You have one try to get the answer right, and then you don't get it right, then you don't get it right. But here I'm trying to encourage people to get right answers. I want them to be able to work on the problems, and if they don't get the right answer the first time, have multiple submissions so they can get the right answer. But for the exam, if you go beyond 4 submissions, then I feel that's really, you should get it right within 4 submissions. If you go beyond that, I'm going to have a deduction of 5% of the points for the question. So like, for instance, let's say you take 5 submissions to get the answer right. Well, then, and say your work's correct. Well, then your score would be 9.5 out of 10 points because you'd have a 5% deduction. If you needed 6 submissions to get the answer right, then that's 5% and 5%. That's 10% deduction. So, but the 10%, well, yeah, that's a 10% deduction. Hold on, I'm not saying this right. Oh yeah, so that would be then 9 points. 9 points out of 10. So, I'm trying to be, though, very friendly, and giving you 4 submissions without any penalty is, I think, nice. But it is an exam, so I have to, put a little pressure on you. All right, so I think those are some of the I think these are the key ideas that I wanted to mention for this. Just to comment too, in terms of checking work, so you're going to be uploading your work for every problem. I may not look at all the problems. I may randomly select some problems, or I may look at all the problems. You have to assume I am going to look at all the problems, but I'm just saying now that I may not be checking every single problem, but I'm certainly going to be checking at least some of these problems, and I assume you're going to do a good job. I'm giving you a lot of time so you can do a good job, I want everybody to do well on these tests and have opportunities to correct mistakes and do the problems correctly. That's a learning experience, right? All right, so I hope this was helpful, and I thank you very much.